Good morning, Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here, recording this for our folks at the HurricaneTrack realm, and I'm also sharing this with users of Hurricane Pro and HD, so good morning to everybody. Let's take a look at what's happening out there. We have three systems to talk about: Katia, Irma, Jose, in order from west to east here, and this is a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane going to make landfall here in Mexico over the next 24 hours or so, 36 maybe at the most. And the winds are 100 miles per hour, and it's moving off to the west-southwest at about 5 miles per hour. And this will bring a storm surge of up to 7 feet and some heavy rainfall for sure. So you folks down here in Mexico, be paying attention to this, which I'm sure you are. You don't need me to tell you that, but I'm just making sure that I do not ignore this in light of what's happening with all the attention placed on Irma. Speaking of Irma, the winds there are 150 miles per hour. The pressure is up several millibars from the overnight hours to 927, and it's moving west-northwest a little slower at 14 miles per hour. Jose, now also a Category 4 with 150 mile per hour winds, but the pressure is higher, and that's all about the structure and the gradient and things that we just don't have time to get into here. And it's headed towards the Lesser Antilles, the northern leewards, and we will look at that in more detail in a moment. First, let's take a look at the latest on Irma. This is the track map, and if we zoom in on it, you can see what's going on coming up in the extreme southwest part of the Atlantic Basin here, just along the north coast of Cuba, maybe making landfall, you never know, and then it turns northwest and then somewhere into southwest portions of the southern peninsula sometime during the day on Sunday. Now, what's very problematic about this, three things. Do not think of the category being lowered to 4 as that being some kind of a wonderful thing. It's good news, I'm not going to deny that, but it's the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, and it has nothing to do with storm surge. We're going to talk about that in more detail in a moment. The second thing that's very worrisome is the fact that it's moving a little bit more to the west here with the track guidance, and so the surge values over on the west coast of Florida are starting to go up, and we will read that in a moment. And then the third thing is the obvious here. It comes right up the peninsula, really just hammering some of these major cities and corridors. It just doesn't get too much worse than that. And a big problem is that it continues on up into the southeast. And so down here where the devastation could be incredible, any help that's trying to funnel in down here from elsewhere is going to be hindered by the fact that this is moving north and northwest right up the peninsula. When they just come through like that, at least they're in and out, and it's just a certain zone that's impacted, and then everybody can come down and render aid. This is going to be terrible, and you have today and today only to really finish those preparations, especially in South Florida. So please be ready for that and all that implies, all right? So looking at the public advisory, I want to point out just a few things. The bearing on it, the direction was 290 overnight, now it's 285. That means it's not moving as far to the north with each passing hour, just something to keep in mind. And then I want to move down here and just show you the hazards affecting land. And we'll get to that. Actually, I want to show you the hurricane force winds. Those extend out 70 miles from the center. Tropical storm force winds 185 miles from the center. Therefore, Irma is a large hurricane. Storm surge. This is very important through here. You need to read this on the public advisory yourself to understand it and wrap your brain around it. Southwest Florida from Captiva to Cape Sable, 6 to 12 feet. And this is above ground if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Florida Keys, Jupiter Inlet to Jupiter Inlet to Cape Sable, including the Florida Keys, 5 to 10 feet. And that is above ground. Very, very important that you know this and understand it, because surge is what can drown you. In the surge will be debris, both vegetative and man-made. There will be animals, marine and terrestrial. It's horrifying. I'm telling you, I've been through with my equipment watching it. Katrina comes to mind as one of the worst ever. You don't want to mess with that storm surge. Please read the public advisory, and it's lengthy, but it helps you understand what to expect on a fairly general level. Now, let's see what we have here. I want to show you Jose real quick. The track map of Jose. Bad news and some good news. The bad news is, of course, it's up to 150 miles per hour out here. Smaller hurricane overall. Could come fairly close to Barbuda here, and maybe even parts of Anguilla, St. Bart's and vicinity. We're just going to have to watch and monitor, but I want to give you a piece of advice if you can relay this to people down there that don't have water. And this may be obvious, but I thought it was a good idea. Use the rain bands to collect rainwater, and you can drink that. Have something clean and put it out, and if you get those heavy bands coming and it's just pouring rain, hopefully not blowing too much, collect that rainwater, and then you've got a fresh water supply for maybe a day or two if you do it right. So it's just dire down there, and I cannot believe that we're seeing this. Such a tragic, getting beat while you're down kind of deal. What else can you say about that, right? One big piece of advice, too, that I want to give you. Go to weather.gov, weather.gov, and here, if it'll load for me, everything's bogged, put in your zip code if you're down here where the hurricane is impacting. All right? Let's say Fort Lauderdale, 33301, as an example. Click on it, and you come to this landing page over here. Right there. That's what you want under hazardous weather conditions in that red. And specifically, this, the hurricane local statement. That is your new best friend. Of all the noise that's out there, the stress, the anxiety of dealing with this, and when you want to know what to expect for your local area, not down to your driveway and your yard, but more specific than the public advisory, is the hurricane local statement. This is the information that can help you take the action needed to save your life and maybe mitigate property damage. Please read that. You just put your zip code in for wherever you're interested in. You don't even have to live in the area. You could be in Michigan and have family down here. Read this, pull out the bullet points, and send it to them. They're busy. They're stressed. Okay, I'm serious. If you're watching this anywhere and you want information about what can I expect from my region, put in that zip code, and then there's all of this information. There's tons of it, from the overview to the wind impacts, and it's much more detailed. And some of it is unnerving, I'm going to be honest with you, but it paints a play-by-play picture of what to expect in your area, including evacuations and storm surge. So please, that is a nugget of information that can be very helpful to you. Satellite overview, unbelievable. Just look at that for a couple of seconds. Wow. I mean, it's hurricane season, and we are nearing the peak. There's Irma, there's Jose, there's Katia. We were warned that it was coming, and this year it has come. Satellite imagery, infrared, Irma going through kind of like it stubbed its toe, maybe a little bit of structural change. Overall, a very rounded appearance to it. Upper level outflow, very well established. Warm sea surface temperatures still lie in front of it. We can take a look at that here on the upper ocean heat content map. Look at this. Irma currently located, right in here, and it still has extremely high ocean heat content values to get through, meaning that it has the opportunity to intensify a little bit more from where it is. Look at that. Some of those values are close to the top of the scale over here. And that means that the water is not only warm at the surface, but that warm water extends deep down into the ocean beyond that. And it just churns up warm water instead of churning up colder water and self-destructing that heat engine. So our coverage plans, my intention is, right now I'm in New Smyrna Beach, so I'm going to go over this for a couple of minutes. This is important. I'm here for a reason. It's my job. I've done this for more than 20 years, and with technology we can do more than ever before. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set out weather stations. We have 2 of them to record wind and pressure with state-of-the-art equipment. You don't go to the mall and buy this at Brookstone or whatever. This is scientific gear that costs a lot of money, and it costs a lot of money because it works great. I'm going to set up the weather stations and live camera feeds. Those will feed to our app. It is an iPhone app developed mainly for iPhones. The Android version is not working properly. So if you get it, you heard me say that it doesn't work properly. We have not had the funds to keep it up to date. I can't be more honest about it than that. The live weather data and the live video will not work in the Android version just yet. It's just the way it goes. It's the nature of the business. I haven't had the funding, and people have offered to volunteer in the recent days as I've mentioned this. I have a contract with a developer. We've kept the iPhone version up to date, and that's what I have on my phone, as you can clearly see, and I'm just being honest with you about it. So you iPhone users, and it works on an iPad, just it's not developed for iPad, put it that way. It's called Hurricane Impact. It's 2 words because it's about the impact here going forward. You know, the tracking, Hurricane Pro is probably the best tracking program out there for iOS. And, you know, even though I work with them, trust me, I love the interface. But for impact, nobody else is going to do what we're doing with Hurricane Impact. When we get into the field, I'll set up these live cameras. They will go into the camera section over here, and you see that? It says live cams. Let's click on that right there. And hopefully we'll have 6 total. These are just showing you the preparation as we get these ready to say to be determined. And then the live weather data, which will be right here, also has live cams built into it. And I just want to let you know, too, read the little description right here when you get the app, or if you already have it. We do use the Ustream interface, and it's the Ustream public feed, so it's got ads. And the reason that's the case is because I don't know how many people are going to be tuning in, you know, either on our website, which is also exclusive for our members, or the app. And so to purchase what we call viewer hours, I wouldn't even know where to begin to budget that. And so to avoid spending everything that I earned from the app instead of reinvesting into the future, having to pay for airtime, I figured let's just leave it ad supported. It's a 15 or 30 second commercial. If you can't sit through that, I don't know what else to tell you. I appreciate you getting the app, but you know, we have to have some give and take here to make sure that I can do this in the future. It's not about getting rich. You know, I'm not going to sell 100,000 units, and if I did, boy, what could I do with that kind of money in terms of future research and education? I do dream about it from time to time, but I'm just being straightforward with you here, okay? It may have some commercials. Some of you won't see them, but it is going to be remarkable. And, you know, the network, hopefully it'll stay up. We're going to spread these cameras out. Some will survive the entire time, probably. Some may get knocked out just as it's getting incredible. We are at the mercy of Mother Nature, but these cameras are absolutely incredible. The technology has come a long way. Right now we're in the news phase and information, so news and videos, and the tracking still very much active. And that's another part of the app. If you get that, Hurricane Impact. We also have a subscription service on our website at HurricaneTrack.com. For our members that want to have web access, you can certainly do that. Most of what we do is absolutely free to the public. No doubt about it. Again, I'm going to emphasize this is my job. This is what I do. I've done this for 20 years. I don't work somewhere else and then do hurricanes as a hobby. And so you are my client. People say, who do you work for? I work for you. And if you buy the app, I definitely work for you. And if you're not purchasing anything from us, hey, I get it. I'm still going to put information out that'll hopefully be helpful. And that's included, of course, with this very video that you're watching. Even though it goes into the app, it's also going to go on YouTube. Most of what we do costs nothing because I want to try to help keep people informed, educated properly about what to look for, and ultimately to keep you safe. So I appreciate everything from everyone. You have been very helpful. Folks have joined up on Patreon in terms of the funding. We got to keep this alive for years to come. But beyond that, your encouragement, the words of encouragement, the thank yous, etc., that keeps me going more than the money, and I really mean that. The money makes the world go round, absolutely. We all understand that. But without you caring about me, I wouldn't do this. If you were, you know what I'm saying? I'm here because of you. Be safe out there. I will be streaming live from our vehicle cam. I will share that on social media, but all the rest of the cameras are, when we set them up, they will be in the app or on our subscription service. So stay tuned. The first setup will be down in the Keys later today, and then I will go from there. A huge thank you to Zach Fridella, meteorologist from New Orleans, for doing the morning update. He will also do one in the afternoon or early evening, and then I'll keep posting stuff on Twitter. And by the way, if you're using the app, Hurricane Impact, the Twitter feed in there is all of our Twitter stuff, just to remind you of that. It's all right there. You don't have to go into Twitter necessarily. All right, I'm going to shut up. Thanks for tuning in. I'm in New Smyrna Beach preparing to head out in a few hours to start setting up equipment or at least scouting locations. I'll keep you updated along the way, and you can watch the live feed on Ustream that I've got running. I'll post that on the website if it's not there already. I'm Mark Sudduth in New Smyrna Beach, preparing for powerful Hurricane Irma. Thank you for tuning in. I'll have more continuing coverage throughout the rest of this event.